you have two choices. You choose the red flag, and you join the Cherry Clan to stop the evil that is coming to this land. Or, choose the blue flannel, and join the Raspberry Clan, because at some point in time we decided that raspberries are blue even though they're actually red. No one's quite sure why. So if I pick the red one, can I not eat raspberries anymore? What? Or if I pick the blue one, do the red people hate me? No. Is there maybe a purple option? Some sort of compromise? There are no other options. Whew. It's hot in here. Maybe too hot for flannels? What if I don't pick either of them? No, you have to pick one. Ooh, this is a hard choice. Maybe I think I just need to lie down for a second. What? Just make a choice.
Open-ended games freak me out. They make me really anxious, because in my head, I have to make the right choice. And yeah, I know these types of games aren't made with a right choice in mind, but one choice has to be righter, right? I just feel like I'm gonna miss something good and interesting no matter which choice I make. And there's no better way to keep that good and interesting content away from me than a morality system. All of my life, I've had to always play the good guy. I just think about those NPCs and their fragile little computer-generated feelings, and I don't want to hurt them. I literally can feel their judgment through the screen. It's like someone walking in on me doing something naughty.
Oh my god, did you just not help those townspeople?
It's not what it looks like.
But playing games as the good guy for all these years has left me wondering, what's it like to play as the bad guy? If I get past feeling bad for being bad, is it gonna be fun? Hey everybody, I'm Binkle Monkey, and it's time for an experiment. I've got Fable Anniversary just sitting in my Steam backlog, and I'm finally gonna play it. Once as a good guy, once as a baddie. And we're gonna find out if good or evil is more fun. Spoiler warning for a nearly 20-year-old game. Fable is the brainchild of game designer, Steve Jobs impersonator, and known liar, Peter Molyneux. Molyneux promised us a fantasy sandbox where our choices could affect the entire world. What we got instead was really generic by today's standards. Probably was generic by 2004 standards when it was released too, especially the plot. You start as a kid in a village, then you blink and the village is raided by bandits, set on fire, and your family is killed. Fun! You're saved by a wizard and taken to hero school to learn how to kick the crap out of people, so that someday you can avenge your family. Once you become a hero, you're rented out to do odd jobs for people. Kill those guys. Find this thing. Deliver that thing. You're basically working for TaskRabbit, but with swords. Eventually, you find out that some of your family isn't dead, and your mom also went to hero school. That makes me a legacy? I thought I got in on my own merit. Your mom and sister tell you that you're part of one of those classic video game tropes, a special bloodline. So it's up to you to fight the big baddie, and he's the big baddie, 'cause he's the big baddie. So yeah, it's generic, but it was ambitious. A game where your choices affect the world. Well, kinda. Yeah, you're presented with good or evil choices that affect your appearance and some of the cutscenes you get, but all the events are gonna happen the same way each time. You either get praised for your choices, or scolded for being a jerk. So Fable's kind of baby's first morality system game. And that's perfect for me, as I'm just dipping my toe into this style of gameplay. So for my first playthrough, I decided to stick with my comfort zone and play as a pious little goody two-shoes. This is my boy Druid, the most virtuous, handsome hero in all the land. And making him that way was stupid easy. Every choice in Fable is really, really obvious. Help the little girl find her teddy bear? Absolutely. Help the farmer protect his farm from bandits? Certainly. Fart on the bully instead of the homeless man? Yeah, I guess that's what a hero does. But these are some of the smaller choices, and they only net you a few good boy points. You're also asked to make much larger choices for the big good boy points. And those choices are also blatantly obvious. Should you kill Whisper, the girl you roomed with throughout hero school, to get a bigger cash prize in the arena? No, you shouldn't do that. You find out Lady Grey, the mayor of Bowerstone, killed her sister to become mayor herself. Should you marry her? No, that would be pretty messed up. You get the Sword of Aeons, which can destroy everything in the land. Should I throw it into the void so no one can wield that kind of power? Or kill my sister with it? Tough call there. So yeah, making the good choices isn't hard, but that doesn't mean it wasn't fun. While being really basic, I really enjoyed the combat in Fable. Druid was a sword-wielding knight who specialized in healing and fire magic. I especially like getting surrounded by a lot of enemies and knocking them all down with the Inflame spell. And yeah, that spell kinda looks like Hellfire to the untrained eye, but if you zoom in really close, you can see that it's actually a holy fire. There was a spell that was supposed to be the good guy super spell, Divine Fury, but I didn't use it much because it was really slow to cast. So I mostly let my sword be my Divine Fury. And boy howdy did I ever show those heathens how furious I was. Being a good guy means slaughtering a lot of bandits. Another highlight was after killing the white werewolf that was attacking a village, every woman, and most of the men, suddenly decided I was sexy. Everybody wanted a piece of this perfectly pure and pious protagonist. I'd go from village to village and be cheered as I arrived, and it was very flattering to see all three of the female character models in the game fawning over me. It kinda got me feeling myself in the real world too, until, I actually went out into the real world. Good morning, world.
Come on, really? You suck, man.
What's your problem? Why you so chipper? Boo this man.
So back in the happier world, I decided to get married to Emily the barmaid and buy some property. Oh yeah, that's right. This millennial owns property in the fantasy realm of Albion. Things were looking up for old Druid until his sister told him Jack of Blades, the big baddie of the game, was holding Mom hostage. So I break into prison, bust my mama out, and get ambushed by Jack, who imprisons Mommy and me. After a year of being trapped and tortured, I finally broke my mother and myself out of the prison for good. I returned home to my wife, and she doesn't remember me? Curse you, Jack of Blades! So Jack breaks through some barrier thingies and tries to take over the world, and the game shoves you as fast as it can into the end game. You finally get into a final fight with Jack, and all of my melee combat I'd focused so heavily on throughout the entire game was useless. Did not appreciate that much. But I did eventually beat old Jackie boy and throw the sword into the void, thus saving the world. But peace can't last for too long, because now a new threat is coming from the frozen northern wastes, and it's up to Druid to deal with it. I retrieved the fire heart from some sages, rode a ghost boat to the land that no one had entered in 100 years, and all these locals thought I was sexy too. After a big pile of fetch quests, you discover that Jack is behind all the monster attacks, and has to be stopped. Again. And then after another pile of fetch quests, that I'll get into in a little bit, you face off with Jack. Who's a dragon now? I don't know how he did that, but I guess I'm glad, because it would be really weird to play a game set in this high fantasy setting and not slay at least one dragon. You throw Jack's mask into the fire, and you've saved the world again for real this time. Ta-da! So that's how a good boy does it. But what about a bad boy? Am I doing this right? So I was actually pretty nervous about playing a game on the path of darkness, especially starting out as a kid and disappointing my parents. That shit always makes me feel awful. And so did the game. I took a bribe to not tell a guy's wife that he's cheating on her. I beat up a kid who was just trying to return that little girl's teddy bear.
First this boy was being nasty to me, and now you're hitting me too.
Okay, kid, I feel bad. I'm sorry. But I couldn't let a little computer-generated discomfort stop this experiment. And so I kept that teddy bear for myself.
Damn!
After those initial incidents, the village burns down, and it's off to the Heroes Guild for the tutorial. Except this time, I took this guy up on his offer to kill sparrows around the Heroes Guild for gold. I was now that one kid in your class. You know the one. But other than killing innocent animals, it really was the exact same path as the good guy playthrough. So I decided to spice it up by going naked for a while. I chose the scariest haircuts and facial hair. I even got a tattoo. Sorry, Mom.
Oh, Binkle Monkey, I'm so disappointed.
This devious delinquent is Arseface. He focuses more on ranged combat and spellcasting. That doesn't mean he won't run around with a comically large hammer every once in a while though. Since I didn't use Divine Fury much last time, I decided to use the evil equivalent, Infernal Wrath, as much as possible. That and Drain Life, which got pretty hilarious in large groups. And most importantly, I did bad things. I killed merchants walking around in the woods. I helped bandits raid the farm instead of protecting it. I stole a magic mushroom from a store and got chased by the Popo. This is when I started to realize something. There aren't any real consequences for your actions. Yeah, I killed some merchants, but they just popped back up in the woods again. I could still go to that farm I attacked with the bandits. The stores would still sell me stuff even though I was a known thief. Sure, I was getting little horn nubs on my head, but the game was still wide open to this little sinner. And with that fear gone, I got to sinning. I was asked to deliver a love letter for a guy, and I took credit for the letter. This is one of the very few moments in the game that anyone showed any sexual interest in ol' Arse face. So I returned to the love letter's author and told him it went great, and he paid me. Ain't I a stinker? I robbed my hometown blind and got chased out of town by guards. And all it takes to make that heat go away is to pay them some gold. Damn, Fable. A lot of games strive for realism, but that's probably the realest thing I've ever seen. It was freeing to just do bad things. In my first playthrough, I refused to play the Kickin' Chicken minigame because I just assumed kicking chickens would be considered, bad. Same with the bare knuckle boxing clubs. They just didn't seem very druidy things to do. But this time, I was kicking chickens left and right, even wore the hat I won, and I beat the crap out of a bunch of shirtless dudes. In my first playthrough, I just fish. Fishing's fine, but kicking chickens, come on. From there, the evil deeds just kept escalating. Arseface really didn't appreciate anyone else's life but his own. I sacrificed the dude to the devil to get the best bow in the game.
Was I, Binkle Monkey, a little disturbed? Yes. Did that bow slap, though? Very much so.
Then, I found a brothel I missed my first time through. I earned my pimp hat, if you know what I mean. Then, I got the owner of the brothel so drunk that he told me where he hid the deed to the building, and then I took the brothel from him.
I am the Mac Daddy of Heimlich County.
Next, I hit up the arena, and I finally had to make a truly ugly decision. I killed Whisper. That didn't sit well with her brother Thunder, but it didn't stop Lady Grey, the mayor of Bowerstone, from hitting on me. I found out again that she murdered her sister, but this time I agreed to marry her. But first I had to defeat her other suitor, which was Thunder. I never got to fight him in my Good Boy playthrough, but this Zangief with a sword was no pushover. I wasn't expecting a 3-phase fight for the hand of the murdering Madame Mayor in marriage, but eventually Thunder runs off, even less of a fan of me than he was before. I just killed a man's sister and stole his girl. Y'all?
I might be a bad guy.
After winning Lady Grey's affection, there wasn't much left for an evildoer to do but all the things that the game forces you to do. And I had a problem with some of it. While just walking around, I'd get attacked by bandits, Jack of Blades minions, and even zombies. And killing any of them would give me good boy points. I didn't want any of those good boy points, so I just had to run from most of the enemies that were attacking me first. And that means less experience points. And that just doesn't seem fair.
Your Honor, members of the jury, I was acting purely in self-defense. I wouldn't have needed to kill those bandits if they weren't attacking me first. So please, do what's right. Do what's just. And take away my good boy points. I didn't do anything to deserve them, I swear.
So these good boy points being thrusted upon you adds an extra challenge to the bad guy run of Fable. You're forced into situations where you have to do some good things. So you gotta go out of your way to do even more of the bad things. But as the game flings me to the end once again, I beat the bejesus out of Jack, and was posed with the nastiest choice yet. If I was going to be truly evil, I would have to kill my sister and take the Sword of Aeons as my own. After that, we're back in the content that was added to the game with the threat from the north. I killed some sages to get the fire heart, rode the ghost ship to the land that no one had entered in 100 years, and they all hated me just like all the folks back home. It was cool. But now I gotta talk about the pile of fetch quests they shoved into the end. To get to Dragon Jack's lair, you have to find 3 souls to unlock a giant door. The first soul you need to find is the King of the Arena, which was technically me, but the game wouldn't let me commit seppuku. Instead, good boys go to the arena and fight an onslaught of baddies. Bad boys have a rematch with Thunder. Okay, that's fine. The next soul we need is the heroine. Good boys go to their mother's grave and she offers to help you in your greatest mission yet. Bad boys kill Briar Rose, a fellow hero who's standing right next to you because she's the person who's telling you that you need to kill a lady hero. That's fine too, I guess. Lastly, we need an old soul, and we're not talking about a jazz-loving 8-year-old with a greater understanding of life than his years would let on. We're talking either Nostro, a spirit that lives in a graveyard who challenges the good boys to a duel for his soul, or the Guildmaster, the guy who's been task-rabbiting you and your sword out the whole game. But that fight is actually just you versus a bunch of guards, and then a cutscene of you killing that old fogey. Anyway, I killed the dragon and put Jack's mask on, which made my devil horns massive, and my face go away forever. I'm the most powerful being in the world, and everyone just has to put up with me. And with that, I can say without a doubt that playing as an evil hero is definitely more fun. Other than those ending quests, the path of the bad boy has way more entertaining moments than the good boy one. And as someone who's always been afraid to step out of line in a video game, I finally get why it's fun to be bad. It's truly a freeing experience. It's like turning off that part of your brain that's worried what society will think of you and running through the streets in your underwear and not giving two shits about the consequences. I highly recommend letting your freak flag fly like this in a video game sometime, because I can guarantee you letting those urges overcome you in the real world will not turn out nearly as well.
I thought this was America! Huh? Isn't this America?
Thank you so much for watching. Do you agree that being bad is more fun in Fable? What's your favorite game with a morality system? Let me know in the comments below. This really was a lot of fun, and I think it could also be fun to make this good versus evil thing some sort of a series. So let me know if there's any other games you think that should get this kind of treatment. Like, share, subscribe. Doing any of the YouTube stuff is really appreciated, especially now that we're nearing that 1,000 subscriber mark. It would be really cool to be there by the end of the year. Just saying. But thank you again. And, as always, have a good one.